What's good, y'all? It's your boy Diary the Kid back in the cup with another banger. So I was gonna make a video today. I wanted to make it on Genshin Impact, specifically on why people should stop comparing it to Breath of the Wild. I wanted to do this video right, so instead of just using my own opinion, I wanted to also gather data to make sure, the video was done properly. And I stumbled across a Gamespot video by Rin Harasaki. If y'all don't know who Rin Harasaki is, he is a Breath of the Wild expert. This man has put over 2,300 hours into Breath of the Wild, bro. So if anybody can tell you about the similarities and stuff, it's him. We finna react to a video of him telling you what he think about the game. That's it, man. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, I don't wanna feel the pain no more. I just wanna make a change, restore humanity. The sanity is leaving for the vanity. I plan to be close with my family, substantially avoiding all calamity. Financially stable, it's a fantasy, it's blasphemy. I holler out loud cause I'm crying out in agony. I just wanna help people, yeah.
Hey there, my name's Rin Harasaki. If you haven't heard of me, I'm an American Breath of the Wild player who has spent over 2,300 hours battling in Hyrule. I've spent a whole lot of time making combat videos and pioneering several Breath of the Wild techniques. The bow spin, for example, is one of my creations. So, naturally, when a game came along that everyone was touting as a Breath of the Wild clone, my interest was piqued, and I had to see what it was like for myself. Since its first reveal, Genshin Impact got both a lot of attention and flack for its Breath of the Wild-like appearance and gameplay, making people question its originality. Why would I play this game if it's just a worse version of Breath of the Wild, they would say. After playing this game for 50 hours, I can confirm that, yes, it does have similarities to Breath of the Wild, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't play it. And there's a lot of interesting things going on with this game, which I'll go over. To make it easier to digest, the comparison can be split into three main sections: exploration, combat, and overall thoughts.
Okay.
This is where I felt Genshin Impact is the most similar to Breath of the Wild.
It's very
similar. And this is also what was shown most in trailers leading up to Genshin Impact's release, which made people angry to the point of destroying PS4s in protest of this game's development.
I remember what they did. That was so stupid.
Exploration, Genshin Impact really feels like a bit of a mixed bag. The similarities are obvious to the point of being blatant. The gliding mechanics are pretty much the same, and both games have the options to climb or jump up most surfaces, jump off walls, attack while falling, and use stamina to sprint, and much more. In that respect, Genshin Impact feels really familiar, and it's easy to get accustomed to the exploration when you know exactly what you're doing. At times, it can feel alarmingly similar, particularly when you reach parts of the map such as Mount Hulao and Cape Oath, which are nearly identical to Satori Mountain and Cape Chaos
Those parts
in Breath
are.
of the Wild. Taking inspiration from a game as well received as Breath of the Wild is understandable, and honestly more games should take inspiration from it. But I did begin to wonder how Genshin Impact's developers were able to get away with this level of similarity. Genshin Impact even keeps some of Breath of the Wild's issues, such as automatically clambering onto objects you didn't mean to. But to its credit, Genshin also streamlined some things from Breath of the Wild's gameplay system, such as fast swimming instead of Breath of the Wild's swim-dash option, which limited your ability to steer Link.
So much better.
You can also climb in the rain in Genshin.
Oh my, this is a
makes
godsend.
it much less stressful to traverse when the
I hated when you were trying to go somewhere and it just randomly started raining.
The rain climbing limitations, difficulties such as these would make you think more about how to approach traversal and whether there's other ways around. In many cases, it pushed players into other mechanics, such as camping until the weather clears, using Rivali's Gale, and other unconventional methods that can present alternate ways to get to places.
Look at this dude, man. Y'all see what he just did? This man just blew a bomb up and then used Daruk's protection to throw him up the mountain. I've never done that. I never even thought to do that. This dude, yeah, expert for real.
Rivali's Gale, and other unconventional methods that can present alternate ways to get to places. One of the wonders of Breath of the Wild is its playground-like world and its use of multiple tools to manipulate that world. That's what made it engrossing to be in.
Look at him.
While Genshin Impact doesn't really have those elements, I don't think it's entirely necessary, as its developers really focus on making it an RPG first and an open-world adventure game second, and that's okay. One thing Genshin does right, just like Breath of the Wild, is the breadcrumb-like exploration. The fact that you can get distracted so easily when you're going from place to place makes Genshin Impact's world.
Man, I forget what I set out to do in the first place all the time when I start running toward a destination.
On your way to your next objective. And while the Ubisoft Tower system is nothing new or exclusive to Breath of the Wild, it's an integral part of exploration that makes an appearance in Genshin as well.
Really, there's not too many things in Breath of the Wild that are unique to Breath of the Wild. Like, there's not too many things in there that they came up with. There are some things, but there's not too many things that they came up with to the point where you could say, oh, every other game that does it stole it from Breath of the Wild. Like, no, Breath of the Wild took aspects from other RPGs before it, and that's okay. You should do that. If a game is successful and you're trying to make a successful game later on in time, you should take aspects from other games, not straight up rip them off, but just, take note.
So, Is Genshin Impact's exploration as good as Breath of the Wild's exploration? Not really. It's perhaps more intuitive, but not as considered. Either way, you will definitely get lost in it and probably enjoy the vast, colorful world. The fact that you get to have that in a game that's played for free is a huge plus in my book.
That's facts. The game don't cost nothing to play. And y'all do all this talk about the gacha element because y'all be watching these YouTubers spending thousands of dollars, putting $1,000 into the game trying to get one specific character that's a 5-star character and that's specifically meant to have the lowest chance of getting because it's one of the most valuable characters in the game. Yeah, y'all watch videos of YouTubers doing that and then y'all run off to this game has a terrible pool system, blah, blah, blah. You know how many dope characters I got from pulling that I didn't even have to pay money for? You get so many primo gems and shit every day, bro. Just by playing the game, you do not have to spend money on this game to get good characters. Now, if you want some of the higher tier 5-star characters, then yeah, you might have to put a little bit of money into it, but you don't need those 5-star characters. You know what I'm saying? The game is just as fun with all the 4-star characters you get. Like, y'all gotta stop that, man. In terms of how gacha games go, this is probably the most accessible gacha game I've ever played, because once again, it's free. It doesn't cost me money. And second, you're not really pushed to buy new characters. Every character in this game is viable. This game is balanced enough to where you can use any character pretty much, except for Amber. You can use pretty much every character, bro.
My definition of Breath of the Wild's combat is going to be completely skewed compared to the average player, so I'll try to approach this from a top-down view in combat in general.
Yeah, because he's next level when it comes to this combat on Breath of the Wild, so you gotta approach it from the perspective of an average person.
I can safely say that this is where Genshin Impact deviates the most from Breath of the Wild, and it is immensely fun to play in its own distinct way. While Breath of the Wild did heavily use elements in combat, Genshin Impact uses them differently, rewarding character swapping to gain buffs and encouraging element mixing. This is done by tying each character to a specific element, and when combined with weapons and artifacts effects, it really creates satisfying depth. This is where the RPG element really shines and makes elemental play completely different in Genshin Impact. To go a little deeper, general combat overall is fairly different in Genshin.
Come on, man.
Besides one counter stance character, there's no proper guarding or parry button in Genshin Impact, leaving dash as your only defensive maneuver. And while there are falling attacks, you're unable to do any action while jumping, making most jump cancels in the game fairly useless. The control scheme in Genshin is also completely different, but it feels good to perfectly dodge an attack and then blast mixed elements against your foes. All in all, both games are fun in their own independent way and have rewarding combat. Breath of the Wild just has a kind of room for creativity that appeals to lab monsters like me. The leveling of multiple characters and progression of artifacts and weapons in Genshin Impact is a fun system that gives the game a unique flavor that channels its gacha game roots. While acquiring these characters feels pretty unnatural and completely breaks the story immersion of the game,
that would be funny.
Characters are actually all very unique, and all of them can be viable on a team, except for Amber.
I literally just said that. But yeah, man, every single character in this game, pretty much except for Amber, can be used. Like, you can turn them into your main DPS, into your main character. You do not have to pull a 5-star character to have a good character in this game. Like, people need to stop that. Not with this game, anyway. Some gacha games might be like that, but with this gacha game, it is not like that at all. Bro, like, my starting team, my team of the 4 team that I use right now, pretty much consists of characters that you get for free. I have a couple 5-star characters, and I don't even use them. Do I have a couple? I have Venti. I got Venti on my first pull on the Venti banner. So I got super lucky there. But I don't even use Venti, bro. Like, come on, man.
This character swapping system almost makes me want a similar system of switching characters with Zelda and Link in the Breath of the Wild.
Not talking down on Venti, because Venti's really good.
I think that would feel unnatural and would break the immersion of a mainline Zelda game. Genshin Impact, like I stated before, is an RPG first and an open-world adventure game second. As a person who loves both genres very much, this marriage really does work out in this case. There are a ton of RPGs out there that kill the exploration factor with design decisions such as invisible barriers and streamlined dungeon crawls that go in a singular path, and Genshin doesn't do that. While the story isn't much to write home about, even when compared to Breath of the Wild's rather light story, the nice visual aesthetic, the in-depth combat, and the breadcrumb-like exploration really creates a sense of immersion. And while yes, Genshin Impact's Breath of the Wild inspirations border on outright
that is
copying,
straight up the first area.
Shouldn't inspire anger and objections. Why wouldn't you want more games to take inspiration from one of the greatest games of all time?
Facts.
And remember, if you're turned off by Genshin's gacha elements, this game is completely free. With that in mind, it makes it hard.
It's free and free to play friendly. Like I said earlier, bro, you do not have to spend money on this game to get good characters and have fun. You don't let the YouTubers that are out here, and I'm watching them too. Like I watch these big YouTubers too. I like their content. I'm just saying, don't let them trick y'all into thinking that you have to put $1,000 into the game just to get a specific character and then you start having fun with Genshin Impact. No, that's not how it works. I've been having fun since day one with the characters that I've been getting for free. Like, I'm just saying, man, don't fall victim to the trap of YouTube. Like, if I had that kind of money to throw money into this game like that, I would. But you don't have to have that to enjoy this game. Like I said, almost 40 plus hours, almost 50. I probably do got over 50 hours in this game. I don't think there's any, like, play timer to, like, calculate that. I wish there was. But, like I said, I've played it every single day since it's released, which is exactly 2 weeks ago from this day of this recording. And every time I play this game, I play it for at least 2-3 hours. And once again, I have a few nights where I played it all night. So, yeah.
Hard not to recommend at least trying this game out. At the very least, it's a good game to keep you busy until Age of Calamity and the Breath of the Wild sequel shows up, whenever that is. And when it does, you'll find me here exclusively on Gamespot for Breath of the Wild combat content. You can be sure I'll be digging very deep into that game. And if you want to see more Genshin Impact content, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
All right, man, we're going to go ahead and end it there. But, yeah, man, we went ahead and just watched that so we could get an expert Breath of the Wild player's opinion. And like he said, bro, just because there's a lot of similarities, like there are a lot of similarities, I'm not going to pretend they're not there. That doesn't mean you should write the game off. Like, the game is still good. It's fun. And once again, as I stated earlier, I am someone who 100% completed Breath of the Wild and all of its DLC, and I loved every second of it, bro. I like Genshin Impact better. I just do. I don't know how many hours I got in Breath of the Wild, but I know I'm going to have more in Genshin Impact by the time I finally stop playing it. And who knows when I'll stop playing it, because it's a game that's, it's going to be getting constant updates and stuff. It's an online game. It's not just single player. You can play it with other people, so they're going to keep updating and stuff, adding raids and all that. Bro, this game is dope. And if any of y'all are watching this video that are choosing not to play it just because it looks like Breath of the Wild, you missing out, bro. You really are missing out. Anybody that's played more than 5 hours of this game stops comparing it to Breath of the Wild. They really do. These damn fruit flies. Got them. But that's it for that video, y'all. If y'all like this video, hit with a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, let me know why down in the comments. Also, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what kind of stuff y'all want to see me do. What kind of games y'all want to see me play. Tune in for the next video whenever that is. And for now, this is BOTW Expert Think signing out. Peace.